It's been a long journey. And I'm sure it must not have been easy. It's not been an easy sector. It's been a sector full of challenges over the last few decades. And within that situation, to start from a small one-room office and build up Powerline to an organization that I think almost all of us look up to receiving the powerhouse of information that this magazine brings to our homes and offices. And with that, you have also expanded quite a bit into Renewable Watch and the infrastructure, overall infrastructure magazine that you've come up with. I don't know why Gujarat alone has a special magazine amongst all the states. But broadly, the fact that Powerline has focused itself to the infrastructure sector, more particularly power, has helped them to evolve into a very incisive encyclopedia of knowledge of this sector. And the advantage of such a magazine is that we get a very impartial and an independent view, particularly when we are making policies. So in that sense, it's always interesting to see. I hadn't seen any other magazine come up with comparable quality of information. And in that sense, I was just reading as I was walking up the headline of this issue in August: supply surplus, surge in coal production poses new challenges. And I picked it up because that really is the subject that's been grappling my attention in the last few days. Yesterday I was with Coal India Limited working on how we need to address this issue. And this evening, just before coming here, we were at a meeting while we were reviewing and monitoring the Uday program so far and how it has impacted DISCOMs, what the trajectory going forward with the DISCOMs is. This particular issue also came up. Only I want to share with you that this is not a challenge. It's a fantastic opportunity. I think who could have wanted anything better? I'm sure anybody in this room will agree with me that this is what you always wanted. You certainly didn't want to live in a country where coal is rationed out like it was some great, I don't know, pot of gold or silver coin or something. And the fact that people have to be stressed for a simple thing like coal. And the fact that the nation over so many years did not have the ability to even expect that we can be a coal surplus country. So instead of working towards resolving this problem, we actually took the soft spot of designing our power plants based on imported coal. I think it is so unfortunate that today, when we have so much coal, we continue to import coal because the design of our power plants cannot take much more of our indigenous coal. To my mind, that's a situation for which probably all of us and our mindset of the industry is to blame. The fact that we could not assess the potential of Coal India, the fact that we could not visualize that a country which has 300 billion tons of coal should not be depending on imports but should be working maybe overtime and super actively to see how we can mine more coal. I think the whole thinking, which has undergone a metamorphosis of sorts in the last couple of years, is what was required maybe several decades ago. But better late than never, as they say, and I'm glad that I have to work on this opportunity where we have surplus coal. And I'm delighted to share with you, only yesterday Coal India presented to me that they've worked out with 10 power generators and coal consumers a replacement of about 15 million tons of imported coal in the next 6 months with indigenous coal. And I've worked out the modalities and the way this is going to work going forward. In the next 1 week, we are working with other power plants. I would urge Powerline and also all of you in this room to see what new ideas you can come up with towards replacing imported coal with indigenous coal. Maybe BHEL, if somebody is there from BHEL, could look at modifying some of this equipment so that that could also become a user of indigenous coal or in greater degree. The plants which have been designed on probably higher grades of coal. We on our end are working to see how we can rationalize prices further, what we can do to improve the quality and grading of coal so that there's no grade slippage. And together, if all of us work together in this, I have no doubt in my mind that this issue of power line will help us to look at the way forward to resolve one of the problems that this country has faced for years and years and convert that problem into first a challenge, as they have mentioned, and then an opportunity. In fact, as we move forward, I'm sure renewable energy is going to take center stage, and we're going to see more and more generation of power from renewable energy. So towards that end, you're coming out with the Renewable Watch has also been a very interesting development. We have very ambitious plans, and only yesterday the country has ratified the agreement, the Paris Agreement of COP21. So we are now the part of the global effort to address this challenge of climate change. India believes it is a global responsibility. We will all have to participate in this, in fulfilling this international obligation of keeping the temperature or increase in temperature down to below 2 degrees. But having said that, we also believe, and which we have been successful in putting into the Paris Declaration, that the world will have to look at more sustainable lifestyles. We are very concerned about wasteful uses of energy. We are very concerned about how the developed world is going to respond to this challenge in terms of the demand side management of their consumption. And we're going to be watching what the world does in terms of financing, low-cost financing, long tenor financing, availability of modern technology, so that this effort that all of us are working towards can truly bear fruit. We can make renewable energy a part of our efforts also for energy security. And going forward, more and more energy gets produced through renewable sources of energy. I'm sure when you take all the various initiatives together, that will be the true future of this sector, where right from generation to transmission, distribution, influx of renewable into it, grid stability, the last mile connectivity to the millions who still don't have power, all of these various initiatives will dovetail together and bring out a better and brighter future for this industry. We are looking at, apart from shifting to renewable energy, we are looking towards making distributed energy production, where consumers themselves start generating power in their backyard, in their rooftops, will also have an important role. Our rooftop program is slated to expand manifold from 300 megawatt today to 40,000 megawatt in the next 6 years. I don't think there is a comparable example in history of a roll-up of any program at this scale. But I think it's eminently doable in a country like India. It will add not only to our energy security, but it will give a lot of support to the people living in distant villages, to the common man in far-off areas, get power through distributed energy sources. Of course, as storage becomes cheaper and more affordable, that will also give a great boost to the distributed energy program. We're looking at using modern technology to create smart grids in the country so that more and more people get connected through technology in terms of monitoring their own usage, in terms of controlling wasteful consumption. I would ideally like to see every consumer having a smart meter at his home, which gives you a 250 million meter opportunity. And if all of us will have a smart meter at home, we will not only be able to address the problem of power theft and high AT&C losses, being able to isolate those feeders where the problems of AT&C losses are high, but we'll also empower you with the ability for remote monitoring of your power consumption, of ensuring that the right billing takes place, the right consumption is billed to you. All of these benefits accrue when you start moving towards smart grids. Our EESL is doing some wonderful work on converting the nation to an energy efficient nation through conversion of incandescent and CFL bulbs to LED bulbs. Now, all of these projects are not isolated projects or efforts of the government. They all dovetail into a larger game plan, which in UDAY, the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana, we have tried to articulate through different aspects of the power value chain, and which will finally culminate in a saving of nearly $27 billion, 1,80,000 crores to the consumers of India, to the people of India. And that really is the end game, which will make power available 24/7 for all, affordable power, quality power, environmentally friendly, sustainable power. And this nation, India, is working towards achieving that goal over the next 6 years by 2022 in a fashion which is consistent with our overall objective of energy security, our overall objective of maintaining a clean environment, addressing the challenge of climate change, and within the overall context of creating a sustainable future for our next generation, leaving behind a planet, a better planet than the one we inherited, for all the youngsters sitting at the back of the room. And I'm sure all of us will put in our two-bit, will chip in with our knowledge, our effort, our own ability to make this dream happen in the years to come. Once again, my compliments to Powerline on completing 20 years, 20 successful years. I believe you've had a long agenda today, deliberating on several issues. I do hope we will get the benefit of receiving some of the ideas and suggestions that have come out of the deliberations of the day. My own work in the last 2 years, 2.25 years, has been defined by my learnings by interacting with all of you. I have on more occasion than once said that there has hardly been a single interaction to date with anybody, maybe in a one-to-one meeting or a larger gathering such as today, or an even larger gathering which I may have had in public meetings or in election campaigning. Every one of them enriches me with more knowledge, gives me more food for thought, helps me with newer ideas, and that has been what has helped us take this sector from what it was in 2014 to what we have today. And I believe further interactions and engagements such as this will help us truly mature by 2022 into the world's best place to live in, the world's energy capital, the capital of affordable, sustainable, quality power for all, well before the Sustainable Development Goals kick in by 2030. Thank you very much for this opportunity to meet with all of you, and I wish you all the very best in the future.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. First of all, thank you for being here despite the very busy schedule. Thank you also for in a very short speech. I'm not thanking you for making it short, but thank you for outlining all of the key elements of your vision in that very short speech. We'll just have now a short ceremony where we will request you to unveil the 20th anniversary issue, and that will symbolize the release. And then I'll just spend 2 minutes on the magazine after that, and then we will be done. This is the 20th anniversary issue. I'll just spend 2 minutes on the journey that we at Powerline have undertaken over the last 20 years. When the magazine was launched 20 years ago, Honorable Minister, it was mostly about generation, mostly about new projects and mostly about IPPs. And it was written mostly from a very Delhi perspective, central initiatives, central policies, central projects. And it was more about business than it was about technology. Today we write more about transmission and distribution than we do about generation. We write more about what's happening in states than what's happening at center. And we write at least as much about asset maintenance and as about asset creation. And perhaps more about technology than about business. We also write about topics and ideas that did not exist 20 years ago or were not important or viable. Net metering, cybersecurity, power exchanges, cloud computing, call centers, microgrids, smart meters, energy storage, universal service obligation, flexibilization. These were not ideas that were considered worthy of discussion 20 years ago. And so the world and the sector has changed so much. Now the Powerline of today looks different in terms of the editorial coverage, but our mission remains the same, and that is to be the most trustworthy source of information on the power sector. Our ethics also have not changed. We do not sell editorial for advertising. We neither malign nor write puff pieces. We do not lobby for any special interest. We are neither pro-BJP nor pro-UPA. We call a spade a spade. We do not have hidden agendas. We avoid conflicts of interest. And we still believe in fact-checking. And sometimes when we can afford it, proofreading as well. We could not have done it and made it this far without the support of our readers, contributors, and advertisers. Every letter, every subscription, every write-up, every feedback, and every ad has mattered and helped. And I hope you will continue with that support. Thank you for that support. And thank you all for coming. And I think we're done. Thank you, sir.